I'm Miranda. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you your exercises that are on your workout for this week. And I'll tell you a little bit about the form and modifications you can make, progressions and regressions to everything. So the first one I'm going to show you is the decline reverse lunge with bicep curl to balance. You're going to want to find a step at your gym. And obviously the higher the step, the more intense this exercise is going to be. I'm going to show you from the side. So what you're going to do is you're going to step up onto the step and you're going to step back. And everything is very slow and controlled. So as you lunge, most of your weight should be in the front leg. 80% of your weight should be in your front leg. And as you lunge back, you're going to do a bicep curl. Then you're going to push off that back leg and step up to a balance, meaning that you can just stand on the stool on one leg. And that's per side, so you're going to do that for 45 seconds on each leg. So you're not going to alternate. You'll step back, bicep curl, balance. Bicep curl, balance. As you lunge from the front, your knee should be over your second toe, pointing toward your second toe. And your knee should never go to where you can't see your toes. So it should be at about a 90-degree angle as you step back. You don't want to be leaning forward or leaning back. So those are things to think about. And then, of course, you can increase weight to increase intensity as well. Okay, push-ups are just standard push-ups. You can do them with your knees down. You can try a couple with your knees up and then put your knees down as you get tired. But you're fighting for depth, so you want to go as deep as you can on your push-ups. Single leg hip extension, and again, this is per side, so you're going to do it for 45 seconds just on one leg, and then you'll switch to the other leg. So all you're doing on here is you lay flat on your back, you stick one leg up in the air. I like to flex my foot, and then lay your head back, and you're just going to lift your hips up off the ground. Okay? This is really going to work these hamstring muscles right underneath your glutes. This is the easiest way to do it. Well, not the easiest. This is the easiest single leg. To make it more difficult, you can put your hands on your chest, but your elbows are still on the ground, or you can get your elbows off the ground. And then you're having to use a lot more muscles to stabilize your core as well. Your legs will start to burn with this exercise. If it gets to be too much, if your leg starts cramping, which can happen, just put your legs down and do both legs. And just do it for 2 rounds. If you end up having to do both legs, just do 2 rounds instead of 45 seconds with the left leg and 45 seconds with the right. Okay, step up to balance with an overhead press. So this one, you may want to get a little bit higher step. If you use a lower step for the decline lunges, that's fine because it takes a little while to get used to that stepping backwards and getting into the proper position for a lunge. Excuse me. So if you decide to do a lower step for that, that's fine. This one, get a little bit higher step. I'm just demonstrating on a stool, but get one that's at least a foot tall, if not taller, if your gym has them. If not, let me know and I can give you something different to do. But I'm sure they have something that you can do these a higher step. So all you're doing with this one is you're going to, I'll just show you this part. You're going to step up to a balance, just like you did coming out of the lunge. And then what you're going to do at the top while you're in the balance, this isn't going to get the whole thing, and you're going to step up to the balance with an overhead press. Okay, so this is what my arms look like at the top. They're just pressed overhead, and my palms are turned in toward each other. So you will step up with overhead press, and then step back down. And that one is alternating. So then you'll step up with the right leg. Press, and back down. Step up, press, and back down. So after you balance, that foot is going to lower back down to the ground, not to the step. And again, that should be very controlled, that lowering of the as you lower down out of your balance, keep it slow. So you're keeping most of your weight in the front leg as you lower down to make sure that you're landing properly coming off of that step. Okay, the next cycle, the next circuit, you're going to be doing squat, and then instead of recovery for 15 seconds, you're going to be doing a squat pulse. And I'll warn you now, this is going to burn. So feel free to drop the weights at any time, or just rest during the recovery instead of doing squat pulls. I'm trying to make these workouts so that as you progress, you can still do the same workout. So squats are really important. For this, I just want you to hold your hands with weights up at your shoulders, and you're going to squat. Now, when you do a squat, I lift my toes off the ground a little bit just to force myself to keep the weight in my heels. Let me squat in front of here for you. You don't want your knees going in or out as you squat. You want them straight in front of you. You want your toes pointed forward. You might feel a little bit pigeon-toed when you first start doing the squats with your toes pointing forward. And then you're fighting for depth, so you want to drop your hips back, and you'll see that as I drop my hips back, you will lean forward a little bit. That's fine. But you will feel it in your back a little bit because you need to hold yourself up as upright as you can be. You don't want to be doing this. Okay, so your shoulders should never be below your hips, and you'll feel it in your back a little bit, holding you up. That's good. That's your core muscles. Okay, so you're going to just do squats for 30 seconds, and then when the timer sounds, instead of recovery, you're going to go down as deep as you are comfortable, and you're just going to pulse. So little bounces like this. That's where it's really going to start to burn. Then you're going to do a squat press, which is just as you stand up, you press. Now the thing about a squat press is all the power needs to come from the bottom of the squat. So as you stand, you press. If you need to rest, you rest here before you squat again. It's not a squat press. It's a squat power up into the press. And that's where you can drop the weights. Then, again, instead of recovery, you're going to just squat pulse it. Then you're going to do burpees. Burpees are just squatting down, kicking out your legs, bringing them back in, and standing up. Lots of variations of burpees, and we'll do lots of different kinds over time. But for now, just a regular burpee. If you need to modify that, you can squat down and step out one leg at a time. Bring it back in and stand up, or squat, jump out, step back in. Those are the variations to make it a little bit easier. All right, the core circuit. So this is a very basic core circuit, and don't worry, I will be doing lots of variations of core exercises. But I thought we would just start with the standard, and so you're going to do a plank for 30 seconds. The easiest version of the plank you can do on your elbows and your toes, and you can actually put your knees down and still engage your core quite a bit. I'm guessing with as much exercise as you've been doing, you will be able to do a plank for 30 seconds. For women, a lot of times a progression is, because our shoulders typically aren't as strong as a male, is to get up into a push-up position. So this is actually a progression for us. For men, the progression is onto the elbows. But for women, that seems to be easier. So once you've mastered it on your elbows and you're comfortable on your elbows and your toes for 30 seconds, go ahead and go up to your hands and just hold the plank for 30 seconds. And really squeeze your core. If you're doing plank and you feel your hips start to drop and you start to feel it in your lower back, you need to put your knees down. Anytime you feel anything that I have on these exercises in your low back, let me know, because you should not feel it in your low back. You shouldn't feel anything in your lower back. Mid back, like up here, is fine. We're going to work that a lot, and this part of your back. But your low back needs to be supported at all time. That's where we're developing our core muscles, is to support your lower back. Excuse me, I'm kind of losing my voice. Okay. Side plank. I think you said you were doing these the other day, so you can do them on your elbow. And this is the easiest with your hand down. Put your hand on your hip and put your hand up. Okay? 30 seconds each side. The progression to that, make it a little bit more difficult, is up on your hand. Again, you have your hand down on your hip or up. Now, the one thing that you need to pay attention to if you're doing it up on your hand is that you're stacked. Well, and on your elbow. So your hips need to be stacked. You don't want them to be rocked forward, that makes you fall, or rocked backward. Your knees need to be stacked and your feet need to be stacked, however you decide to do it. And you should be lifting, and you can also put a knee down on a side plank. So if it gets to be too much, sometimes at the end of a workout, you're just spent. You can put a knee down, and you can still pull up with those core muscles, the side abdominals. Okay, so you can always put a knee down in a plank, any kind of plank. And the last one is tabletop, and that is just raising your hips up, and you just want to form a nice table. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be working your glutes and your hamstrings quite a bit, and also your shoulders and upper back to keep that back straight. And then you want to really suck in your stomach and squeeze your booty to make it as flat of a table as you can. And I'll email you information about the rest of the workout, and just let me know if you have any questions. Enjoy the workout. I'll see you soon.